Evening, people. Welcome to the Redzone. Welcome to BNR. If you believed in miracles, after the Palace game, then and you still believe, then even me, I'd like to know what you're taking. I'd like some of that stuff. But a week is a very, very long time in the world of football, and boy, don't Liverpool know it. It's come crashing down. It's come crashing down really, really fast. And what's the title today? What do we call it today? What do we call it, boys? Something Shambles? Spats and Shambles. That's what it was, and that's how has ended. It wasn't meant to be like this. It was supposed to be such a fairy tale ending, a farewell send off to the manager, to some great players, to some legends as well. And the irony is, those great players and those great managers are having spats on the touchline. But there'll be fire in here tonight. Maybe Salah won the fire. Maybe the journalists did, but might be a bit of fire in here tonight because we didn't go live after the Everton game. But as Hassan says, cry Asim and Chinese baby girls. But this is it. Win or lose, we're here. Win or lose. And Gene couldn't go live after the Everton game because he was away. I was at the ground and it was a 8 o'clock kickoff. So big up to Sarib. Sarib, I watched that, believe it or not. About 2 nights ago, I thought, oh no, Sarib went live after the game alone. I better watch it. I couldn't go to sleep. I woke up about 1 o'clock, full of energy, and I turned on your. I think it was later than that. It was about 3 o'clock, wasn't it? And I turned it on. I watched it for 15 minutes, and I had to stop it within 15 minutes just to tell you that you were absolutely awesome because you spoke your mind. You were passionate, and you were angry as well, but you were honest. That's the main thing, and that's what this show is all about. That's what this channel is all about. Whether we're here in front of camera and on WhatsApp calls or WhatsApp messages, we're exactly the same. Even the trolls in the chats will admit that. But it's a big welcome from me. Yeah, it wasn't a great performance over the last week or so, especially away with our rivals, but it wasn't greater even yesterday. But the same old mistakes, the same old habits that we're going to go through. But before then, I must greet and welcome my guests as ever. Avi is in Canada. He's at some event. We don't know what he's watching, but he sent us some few clips. It looks like he's enjoying himself. But we're here to talk about Liverpool. This is therapy. This is the way it is. It is what it is, and we're here to talk about it and provide a perspective and some analysis as well. Gene, I'll come to Sarib. Sarib, you were at the game. You saw the Reds in the flesh. How was it?
I mean, well, what can I say to you, Asim? What can I say? It's just embarrassing at this point. Like, not even the fact that I paid quite a bit of money. Like, I went to the game. I bought a ticket. I went to the game. It's more the fact that we pay our hard-earned money. I have a job. I'm a student. I'm already running on a budget, so I normally don't have any spare money to spend. So I decided to spend my money on that ticket. I promise to God, I wish I spent it on something else. Because honestly, watching that, I've seen us live a few times. And watching that, Asim, absolute disgrace. And it's not even the fact that the title was done. The performance is a joke, Asim. It's an absolute joke. And I think we're going to dive deep into the performance. But I went there. It just was nerves in the stands. It just wasn't. Something was not right. And I could feel it before kickoff. And even me, I was running late too as well. So it was just pathetic fallacy at this point. So I come late, everything's going wrong, and then we go out and perform like that on the pitch. It's just a shambles. I don't have much to say on that. But
Gene, I was more angry. Just before I come to you, Sarib, you said it in the private chat that my mic sounds weird. Is it still bad?
I don't think your microphone's connected because it sounds like it's very echoey.
It looks like this has gone off. But Gene, I was going to come to you.
It's not that bad. Don't worry about it.
Gene, I was going to come to you and ask you about. I was more angry in midweek because once we lost Everton, it was all over. And at times, the West Ham game, I watched it at home this weekend. It looked like a bit of a pre-season game, but I thought we showed a better football against West Ham. But just your thoughts, because we didn't speak on camera about the Everton game.
Everton game was just, as Sarib put it, was pathetic. I watched Sarib's show after the game on Wednesday, and I echoed everything that he said. It was how he felt, and and I big up to him because he spoke exactly how I think 90% of Liverpool fans actually felt, because it was a disgrace of a performance. on Wednesday. And yeah, you're right. The West Ham game didn't feel any. I didn't feel anything. Obviously, you just felt like you got 3 or 4 games left to go. We're going through the motions. You just want the season to finish, because it was a weird one, because all season we've been fighting for this title, and every game means so much. And then all of a sudden you're playing games which mean practically jack all. But the Wednesday's game, Asim, it was what do you want me to start? We just, everywhere you looked, defense shit, midfield shocking, strikers I don't even want to start on them, Asim, because if you make, when I start on these forwards, I'm just going to go to town on them, because I genuinely believe that, and I know you've got difference of opinion on this, but my whole blame's on them. Most of the blame,
Who the strikers, yeah.
most of the blame in terms of why we didn't miss out on the title is on them, because of the amount of chances that they've missed especially over the last 4 or 5 games. But granted, yes, that the defense hasn't been great, midfield hasn't been great, but primarily the blame lies with them. But yeah, look, what can I say about Wednesday? It was just a shocking performance. In terms of this game, I didn't really give a shit. I did want to see changes. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to see some people come in to see if there's any sort of fight. First half, a load of shit, which we're going to go into. I saw some sort of patterns I was pretty happy with the first 15-20 minutes of the second half. I felt like, you know what, we've got going. There was, I saw so many midfielders making runs into the box, and there was actually some football for once. It just went shit again. And we drew the game 2-2. So that's where we're at, Asim, as a football club. That's where we are as a team. And we just have to, the summer's come at a time where we're going to have to bring it. Obviously, the new manager's going to come in, and we're going to speak about that. And then you've got what happened with Salah and Klopp as well, which wasn't the best show.
Eugene, do you think Jurgen Klopp side, or even this Liverpool side, or even a Liverpool side of yesteryears, but still a Jurgen Klopp side in previous years, has got involved too much in the occasion rather than just sticking to their game? The likes of Brentford, the likes of Everton, when we come up against a physical side,
Everton did feel like
play the occasion.
Yes, 100%, because we didn't go there and play football. We played football that they wanted us to play. They wanted, they were always going to come out fast. We just didn't play football that game. But saying that, it's weird, isn't it, Asim? Because we played to the occasion 100%. There's no doubt. Yeah, in the first half, you missed 3 absolute sitters. Yeah, and you sit there and you think, how the hell do you miss the chances that we've missed? And again, but come on, well, this Everton side lost 6-0 a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, and they outfought us, which was the biggest thing that I had an issue with. They outfought us, they outbattled us, especially in the midfield. They were all over us like a rash, and they knew exactly where to hurt us as well. That goal at the back post from Calvert-Lewin, and it just goes to show. But another issue that we've had again, we fall behind. The issue that's always been there all season. Yes, I have a go at the strikers, but one thing that I'll give how you cannot, and Cyrus mentioned it on previous show, how do you expect to fall behind in 23, 24 occasions over the season and expect your strikers and midfielders to bail you out over and over again?
Eugene, I've got a problem.
You were at the game, right? Look, you were at the game. In terms of the occasion, did it not feel like to you that they played for the occasion? They played the occasion rather than the actual game itself.
Gene, I tweeted, I think it was the pre-match conference for Klopp before the West Ham game, or was it just the post-match after the Everton game? I tweeted straight after because I watched it live. I think it was the pre-match on the Friday.
Yeah.
Was it the pre-match? Yeah.
After the Everton game, you tweeted like, "Oh, it's over." Nunes clapping or something.
After that, but after I made a comment on Jurgen Klopp's press conference. It was the pre-match because he was talking about we weren't positive enough. We didn't make Everton. We didn't make it a pain for them, and all these phrases that you sort of come accustomed to a Jurgen Klopp side. But I disagreed. We just needed to make it boring for 5-10 minutes. I look at Arsenal and look at Manchester City, and in all honesty, I don't think both sides played well today. But they had, potential, especially, it was more than a banana skin. It was a North London derby. But Arsenal just have a second way, a plan B. Liverpool, who look ropey for 5-10 minutes, we're going to concede. You know what we're going to concede, and it's not a coincidence. You know, if it was a 2-3 game pattern, you think, okay, we've been unlucky. If it has been happening for a 6 months or to a year period, there's something, you know, chronic going on. There's something systematic wrong in either structure, in either coaching, in either personnel. There's something wrong here. We look absolutely so nervous when a team comes into the game. Whether it was Everton, yes, you're 100% right, Gene. We had some, you know, really good early chances, especially in the first half. We played probably our best football after Everton went up 1-0. Because I don't think Liverpool know how to control a game properly yet. We saw good sort of, signs in the Fulham game. We saw some even good signs. I know we called it a pre-season game, but to control a West Ham game, looking for the counter-attack, especially with someone like Antonio, is difficult because they've got players that can hurt you within a moment. But Kanate had an absolute shocker. I couldn't believe what I've seen, Gene. Calvert-Lewin was made to look like Maradona and Lewandowski, you know, a hybrid version of that, if there's a version. I've just randomly plucked two names out, but you get my point.
I get it. It was one of
I know he's lacking rhythm. I know he's lacking game time, but honestly, for how great he's been, you know, for this Liverpool side, especially with the Trent role and how we've talked about, he's got two jobs going on. But I couldn't believe it. Calvert-Lewin is a smart guy. He's strong and this and that, but the problem with Kanate is I know he likes to shove, likes a battle, but he's clever as well. You know, he just does enough at times, whether it's on the, you know, in transition or just at the edge of the box. But the way Calvert-Lewin was reading his game, sometimes Calvert-Lewin was not even, he was probably 30 to 70, 70-30 in sort of, it was in favor of Kanate. And just because the way he was jumping up, because he knew he's going to get a little shove from Kanate. And I'm not blaming Kanate here, but if you want it physical, then you need to make sure you have the right structure, you have the right personnel. And I don't think this Liverpool can go roll their sleeves up and have a battle with the likes of Everton and the likes of Brentford. We should be playing like against Brentford like we did this year. We probably haven't controlled Brentford over the last 7-8 years, or how many years has, you know, the tenure of Klopp been? 8.5 years. Call it what you want. And it took 8-9 years to control Brentford to an extent. What was it? 4-1 away to Brentford, or was it
last season?
Yeah, to be fair to them, look, I think they've been in the Prem for like 3 or 4 years. So the 3 or 4 years that they've been in the Prem, we've generally struggled against Brian.
We encourage teams. We make them into basketball games. Why do we make them into basketball games? That's my problem.
And I know you've had this structure problem with, especially with this Liverpool side, especially over the last few months, where you spoke about these basketball games. You spoke about why can't we go boring? Why can't we just contain and just keep possession like they say City and Arsenal do? The truth of the matter is, Asim, we just don't have the players. I don't feel as though that are playing at that moment in time. Some of these players are used to playing the Klopp way. Klopp plays a certain philosophy, and Klopp is not going to change that. But one thing that I will say is, when I thought Klopp signed Thiago a few years ago, I felt as though that was going to be the first sort of transitioning away from that, you know, gung-ho football and into a more of a possession-based football. And I think we did see glimpses of it where when he played, there was a bit more control in our midfield and he controlled the game a lot better. But we haven't seen any of that this season. And look, I'm not going to say if Thiago played or anything like that. Obviously, that's not even, there's not even a point going there. But we miss a player in terms of control, but we also miss a player in terms of a proper DM, because in the big games, when it matters, that's where we go missing, and we've always struggled. But in terms of structure, what do we need to do? I know Slot's going to come in and sort of stuff. He does and I know this is probably another question for later on, but what can Klopp do? What should have Klopp done?
I'll answer your question, Gene, but Sarib want to say something.
Gene, I do agree with what you're saying, but I think you've been a bit harsh, because I think Klopp has tried this season to gain more control in the midfield. And I think that's why, as much as we don't have I think he's tried to adapt to the personnel that he has available. I understand we don't have the correct personnel to play the Man City and Mikel Arteta way, because Jurgen Klopp is not that type of coach. But I feel like he has understood that he has players in his team that are controllers, which is why he's played McAllister a lot deeper this season, which is why he's tried to invert Trent to kind of play him alongside. But at times,
he played McAllister deeper in this season because at the start of the season, Endo wasn't good enough. He had no choice.
I know, but he tried to find a number 6 that can not only just command the ball and take out opponents like a Fabinho did, someone that can dictate the play from deep. And Alexis McAllister was doing that for a very, very long time. It's only until he moved to the advanced and Endo's come into the team where them two play in a pivot. You see, when you have a proper 6 in there and someone to play alongside him, you have much more control, because we have someone combative and someone that can
I don't
control
think
the
we've
play.
had control all season, though, Sarib. I'll be honest with you. In 90% of the games that we've played, 90%
He's
of the
tried
games,
though, is what I'm saying. He's tried to.
we've
He's
never had
tried to.
control.
But he's tried to, is what I'm saying. That's why I said he's tried.
We've conceded 20. We've conceded first in 23 of them games this season. So we can't turn around and say, look, there's been control. I have not seen any sort of control. We've always known that we were going to play this way of football. It's going to be attacking football. It's going to be, if you can score to score 1, we'll score 3. Because at the start of the season, we all thought, our forwards are good enough to blitz any sort of team away, right? We accepted that type of football. But there has to come a time where you think, especially over the last couple of months, where you've seen that the forwards are not scoring regularly, that you have to think, let's try and change something. But it's always still being the same, try to play the same sort of way.
To me, that's down to the quality of the forwards, because we create enough chances. We're one of the highest chance creation teams in the league. Darwin Núñez has the most big chances missed in the Premier League. This is not about.
What do you think is down to then, Sarib?
It's obviously the players that we have, which goes back to the
why. So you think we've been conceding 23 times first in is it a Premier League game or this season? I think it's 16 times in a Premier League game.
All comps 24.
Wrong. Yeah, 24.
Yeah.
Do you think it's down to what the strikers or just general personnel in the team? What do you think it's down to?
That whole identity that we have of conceding first, that has been an issue not only for this season. I think Kwasi pointed out when I had a look at him myself. It's been happening since the start of last season. So this is a personnel issue. This is not a personnel issue. Sorry, this is more to do with the coaching. Because how can you be going 1-0 down that consistently every single week? It's becoming a facade at this point. Because the reason why we're picking up 27 points from losing positions, because we always go 1-0 down, and because we are better than most of the teams that we play, we tend to come back. There's nothing to do with character. Going 1-0 down every single week for a side of Liverpool is unacceptable, and this is where the mentality of the players come in. They've done an amazing job to get us to win us a Carabao Cup, and get us to a Champions League final in 22, and win us those FA Cups and League Cups, and get us to quite far down in the Premier League title race. But this is down to mentality, and that's all I can describe it to. It's a very fresh team. A lot of these players have not experienced being in a title race before, similarly to what Arsenal were going through last season. Although Arsenal didn't go 1-0 down a lot last season, you could see they lost control. And we don't have the personnel like a Man City, like an Arsenal, like a Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, an Odegaard to keep that kind of control in midfield and have kind of put your balls on the table kind of thing. We have something very, very similar in Alexis McAllister. And at times, Gene, we have seen it. We have seen it at times, but not consistently enough. So for me, Klopp has tried to adapt to the personnel he has, but because his team is so fresh and so new, it becomes tricky to do that in your first season.
But do you think we're in a sort of like a halfway house now, Sarib? Because that's where I'm at the moment, where just to provide you a bit of context, you obviously know, just for the viewers as well, in terms of when Klopp came in, it was all gung-ho. We had the players. We had the 3 roadrunners, Henderson, Wijnaldum. We had, Fabinho as well. And everyone was in their pomp. Now the transition to a football inside. But are we sort of getting punished by the fact that they didn't have a plan to sell Fabinho and Henderson in one season? They saw the 40 million for Fabinho, and then they didn't really have a plan. I know they went for Caicedo, but then Endo had a little purple patch for a couple of months. But recently, especially, he's probably showing his level now.
For me, that Fabinho selling him out of the blue I understand it, but I think it's nonsense, because I think if we wanted to sell we wouldn't have sold Fabinho if we didn't have someone lined up. And look,
I think we wouldn't have sold Fabinho if we didn't get a 40 million bid. I don't think we had a plan, or it was a surprise the Saudis came in.
For me, that's poor planning, because we could see as fans that this guy is completely past his best, running to the ground, playing every single week.
I don't think he was past his best though. At the age of 29, I thought, you know what? Because he didn't have the help either. Look, we gave Fabinho a load of crap that last year when he was shit. Granted, because he wasn't that good, but let's face it, the team was shit as well.
I think he was poor the season before that as well, Gene.
I don't think he was.
I think
Fabinho improved. Fabinho improved because there was too much space. It was dysfunctional midfield. We were all over the place. the guy who nicknamed the Hoover wasn't hoovering. He was running out of batteries and he had no legs. But so did the whole Liverpool team.
He wasn't even.
But when Trent came into midfield, it wasn't a coincidence, Sarib, that we saw the better Fabinho in those last 10 to 12 games.
His legs were gone for me. His legs were.
I'm saying Liverpool a bit more compact.
I'm not going to make any excuses at all because for me, Fabinho was past his best after the 2021 season, after he played centre back for a year.
Okay,
I think after that, I think that had a real toll on him. And as much as we want to say that the person who helped him, that's fine, because when you put good players next to other players, they obviously become better. If you put a De Bruyne in Sheffield United, he's obviously not going to be as good as a De Bruyne in Manchester City. It's common sense. Look at Fabinho in Saudi, and someone just put a comment. He's done absolutely nothing. I've seen him. He's been getting run around. This is not down to having. You can make arguments for having personnel, but the player was not at his best. The player was not at his best for a long time.
Yeah, you can make a case. You can make a case for any Liverpool leaving leaving Liverpool.
Selling him was not a bad move. What was a bad move was selling him and not having someone to replace him with. That was where we went wrong.
That level, Sarib, because we did replace him with Endo.
It's not to that level though. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So again, that comes down to the manager and the staff who bring these players in, because we weren't trying to win a title this season. Whatever we've done this season is overachievement. That's not a lie. But if we want to compete, we have to sign the best players. And we did try to get Caicedo. We did try to get Lavio. But this whole saga dragged on and on and on. And it shows that from the top to the bottom, that this club's a mess. And that's why this summer and this season, or going to next season, we've tried to fix what's upstairs so we don't have the same problems going into the summer transfer window again. So we're not left short again, because that can easily happen, Asim. And next season with a new coach, it is unpredictability. We don't have Jurgen Klopp at the helm anymore. We don't know where we're going to be next season. We can say we're going to win a league. We can say we're not going to be in the top 4. We can say we're going to finish 7th. We don't know. We don't know. It could be easily any of those. So that's what really annoys me, because
Gene, during the game, Sarib, I saw Liverpool trying to gain. I think they were probably hurt and sort of reviewed the Everton game. I saw Robertson in deeper areas. This is where I think the problem lies. Yes, 100%. I agree. The DM role, I think, needs to be addressed. You can't have 2 flying fullbacks. And Trent, obviously, with the freedom in coming into midfield or staying wide if one of the midfield comes into the midfield, or if Gakpo drops onto the halfway line, Trent is more conventional. But generally speaking, over the last 5-6 weeks since Robbo has been back, he's been on the halfway line since until one of the centre backs plays it out to him. And this is where I think Liverpool need to go wrong. When we had Fabinho, Van Dijk, Gomez, Bobby pressing on the halfway line, Mane tracking, giving a shift on the left, every single one player. And I saw Arsenal today, when it wasn't going right, they had the ability to roll their sleeves up and put a shift in. But Liverpool's structure, Liverpool's patterns of play, and their shape generally on and off the ball is just, you think, where's the coaching? And in yesteryears, when Liverpool could cover space, you could get away with it because you had Fabinho hovering up side to side. How many times did you see him just with those long legs, break up play, and Liverpool go again? But with Trent and Robertson now going up, this is where I think Liverpool, as soon as they lose the ball, teams can come at us. And it's not a coincidence where teams know that if you go for Liverpool, where they start the game or mid-game, Liverpool look vulnerable the moment Liverpool have a ropey 10-15 minutes. And I know it's a bit unlucky. Arsenal were a bit lucky today. Even you could argue City could have conceded. I think City, how many times have we seen City have an XG? They had an XG less than Nottingham Forest today, Gene. I think it was 0.87 for City and 1.75 for Forest. Forest should have, on paper, in theory, should have at least drawn that game or won it. But Liverpool just don't have a plan B. We've been talking about Darwin Núñez not having a default finish, a percentage. Liverpool don't sometimes play the percentage game. It's all about playing the high risk, high reward. And if the strikers are not firing, and I can understand Gene saying, look, the strikers are not fighting. At the end of the day, someone put in the chat as well, if Liverpool have put their chances away or sort of, gone by their XG this year, Liverpool will be 2 points ahead in the league. But when it's not going right, you have to rein it in. You have to protect those players. Liverpool don't have a plan B.
That's a personal issue then. It's a personal issue. You adapt to the players you have.
No, it's not a personnel issue.
It is.
It's a principal issue.
What you just
it's
said.
A principal issue.
You just said based on our XG, we should be top of the league. Who's missing those chances? The personnel that we signed in the summer. As much as you don't want to criticize the personnel, that's down to the players we have.
We're also conceding the most chances, Sarib.
That's down to the personnel we have.
No, it's principles. It's principles.
It's down on the manager and the way they set up, isn't it, Sarib? You can't.
That's also a factor. It's both of them. It's both of them together.
Look, it can't. And I know, Robertson is not a great manipulator. Sorry, but Gomez, who's doing a job, he gave us more solidity. He didn't give us the balance in terms of going on the overlap. But that wasn't his role. It gave more protection to Trent, especially Trent, because when someone comes in to midfield, whether it's John Stones, whether it's Kyle Walker, sometimes in previous years, I know he stays behind now, but whoever it is supposed to be the extra man. For Liverpool, you give it to Trent, and he's the extra man, but he's the initiator, he's the creator, he's the architect. That's why, because we want him to go into areas where he could really hurt the opposition, even so outside their box. So we take a big risk, and I'm up for Trent coming into midfield, but I just want a bit more protection for him. If you want him, you look at stats, Trent every game, he loses possession 12, 13 times every single game. We plays 3-4 key passes into the game, and this is why we're prepared to do that. But you have to make sure you provide a balancing act all over the pitch. There's no balancing act. Look what we've done to Szoboszlai. People say we want him to express himself more. We want him to come outside, shoot more. But someone has to play the roadrunner. We've got Trent and Salah. If you want Salah to be at the edge of the box, playing narrow between the posts, then someone's going to have to play the Jordan Henderson role. You can't just say play FIFA and say, okay, everyone go attack, we're going to win the game. It's not going to happen. It's gung-ho.
And you signed the correct players to play those roles, Asim. You don't go sign an attacking midfielder and expect him to be a proper road runner right 8 so you can accommodate your right back to play midfield. It doesn't even make sense to me. And I always said I want to get rid of this inverted nonsense. I like playing conventional because as much as we want to get the best out of Trent's abilities, Trent was really, really good as a right back. As much as he can't defend, you buy someone to protect him instead of moving him out and leaving Ibu Konate exposed at the right centre back, because he then has to cover the whole side of the right hand side. Szoboszlai then wants to run forward, which leaves us completely open in the midfield. Then Konate gets injured because he has to cover the whole right side.
Yeah, but that's why we're saying you need to have a proper. If we had a proper DM in there, it would help.
It's personal and system.
Plus, this is why he's saying you don't. If Trent is going to have the license because he's allowed the license because of how good he is, then you got to give it a bit of balance in terms of playing Joe Gomez instead of Robertson. At least then there's 3 players who are defensively sound with the actual proper DM that will allow Trent to have a lot more space to do what he's good at. So you have to understand it is a structural formational issue in terms of if you're going to you can't allow fullbacks to bomb forward when you know number one it's costing us. Number 2, you don't have a proper number 6 there. So you have to make changes in terms of, and I'm not going to lie, when Joe Gomez played over the last, there was a period in the season where Joe Gomez, I think, played like 12, when Robbo got injured, 12, 13 games in the season. We actually looked a lot better structurally in terms of how we played because we weren't conceding that many. Well, that's what I felt anyway. And I felt if it was that probably period where we were in a lot more control. And even Trent got injured then. That's when Trent was injured and what's his name? Bradley was going forward. And Bradley was the furthest player forward at times because he was playing as a conventional right winger. But we allowed that because why? We had an extra body in defence. When you've got Robbo coming forward and you've got Trent coming forward, that is a structural formational issue with Sarib. And that is down to the manager because that's what the manager has told them players. That is the way to play football.
I agree with what you're saying, Gene. I agree with what you're saying. But for me, the way we play for the players we have doesn't work. It just doesn't work. This eventually catches up to you because there's been a pattern for the whole season. We've been conceding chances. The whole season we've been conceding goals first. This is down to structure and players. And people think I'm disagreeing with what you're saying. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. You have to adapt to the players you have as much as you have to change the system when it's not working. And Klopp did that last season because he knew what he had wasn't working. So he changed it around the Arsenal game last season. And it was working for a long time. But this season, like you said, he doesn't have a DM, which is a personnel issue. And he doesn't have the players to play his kind of way, which is why he's playing the way he is. But it's also not working. That's why he needs to change it and go sign players.
Signing of Endo, though. He signed Szoboszlai. He signed Endo. He's the player who made these signings. So then you can't say it's a personal issue. It's on Klopp then.
It's both of them. It is
I tell you where it's about personnel, Sarib. I tell you where it's about personnel. You've got the likes of Trent. He's such an influence in every zone, in every phase of the play. So he's such a good footballer. We want him on the ball, but we don't just want him on the ball in deep areas. We want him to go and put overlapping crosses in and everything like that. But when he does that, you have to have someone covering him to sustain attacks. The moment it goes out, and then how many teams have a Rice? How many teams have a Rodri? How many teams have a proper DM? I don't know. There are probably about 2-3 world-class DMs in the world. You mentioned Caicedo. I don't think he's a natural 6.
He's a pivot 6, but the way we play it,
exactly. But I don't think he's a single. But no, the last year, the way we played, I don't think he could do it. Yes, he's a double pivot. You saw him play at Brighton with McAllister. He's a cover of spacer, but is he good on the ball the way we play?
He played last season. What Trent plays, that's what he played last season.
That's probably best. That's probably him. Yeah, that's probably, because probably De Zerbi realized that he's not good enough the ball, especially if you don't have McAllister coming central with him, or Trent coming into midfield. You do need an architect next to Caicedo, that because he's a brilliant eater of space. That's what he is. But I just think, like going back to my previous point, that Liverpool are stuck between two philosophies, where we realize that we can't buy another Wijnaldum, we can't buy another Henderson, we can't buy Thiago's always injured. Where do we go from here? We've lost Henderson, we've lost Fabinho, we bought footballers, we bought architects. And now where Liverpool played better football, they've got better footballers technically, but these guys can't put shift in terms of, really handle Everton away, where we play the occasion. But we're not supposed to be playing the occasion. We should be. These guys are good enough. But in terms of going back to your point, Sarib, where it comes to personnel is Liverpool have probably a few more direct players than the likes of Arsenal, than the likes of City, the likes of Trent, the likes of Salah, the likes of Szoboszlai, where if you want to play a possessional-based football type of philosophy, then you have to play a lot of sideward passes, work the angles, work the combinations, just like City, and the sequences of passes, that's what they call it. But Liverpool don't do that. And if you look at the graphics, if you look at the stats, Liverpool are even halfway on those graphs, where they can't decide, are we going to play the heavy metal football, or are we going to play the positional play, Pep Guardiola type of style? And we've been BNR, I think Wiki coined that term, is controlled chaos, because we were trying to sort of, embrace both philosophies, and we termed it controlled chaos. But controlled chaos has not been controlled. That is the problem. And that is my biggest...
We haven't had control and we haven't had chaos. That's the truth.
We've had chaos. We've had chaos.
We had chaos at times.
That's the simple truth. We've lost both. Right now, we don't have anything. This is my biggest issue right now. We don't have chaos. We don't have control. So who's it down to? Who? Yes, I can accept the in terms of the forward players, they've been absolutely abysmal, especially over the last 5 or 6 weeks. They've missed just way too many chances. But you have to accept that structurally, Asim. And I was, look, and when I had a go at you, Asim, the truth is I had a go at you 3 or 4 weeks ago regarding this structure, because you were saying structure, and I was giving you shit saying it's not just structure, it's the fucking forward players who can't put the ball in the back of the net. Because my biggest issue is our forwards are shit. They're missing absolute sitters game after game after game. So the problem is there and not in terms of the structure, because we already knew how we play football. Liverpool have always played heavy metal football. We're going to go out, especially with the players we had, because we didn't sign a 6, because of Robbo and the Trent and the way we play. It was always going to be, this is the way we're going to play. But the truth is, when the forwards shit hit the fan with the forwards, everything went tee up. That's the truth. That's exactly what happened with Liverpool. But then you have to look to your manager, Asim, to see, okay, this isn't working. We need to see something. But I've not seen anything. It's the same old go, attack, and see what happens. And this is another reason why, look, I have to, Klopp is the greatest manager in the world, but there are times where I wanted to see something different and I never got to see it. And look, I'm not having a go at him. That's just the nature of the beast. This is who Jurgen Klopp is. He's been the greatest manager over the last, for God knows, over 30 years for Liverpool, who's delivered his success. But there are certain things within Klopp that I felt, you know what? He could have done this. He could have done this. It's just one-dimensional football. And that's what we've seen over the last 2 years.
That's why I always said that when it comes to the time of like proper balance and we need to, you know, edge out, we have a lot of direct players. That's why we scored a lot of goals. Like people forget, there was a point we were the top scorers in Europe, and that's not a lie. We have direct players that all they like to do is attack, but in turn that leads us on the other end exposed, which is why we also concede so many chances. But we've got the best. We've got the best goalkeeper in the world, which allows us to make these saves, and which is why, compared to Arsenal and Man City, we're still close in goals conceded. We're not a Man United or an Everton that not Everton's was bad example, a Chelsea per se that concedes so many goals, because we have players like Virgil van Dijk, like Alisson, who can come up trumps in the big moments. But we also concede so many chances. Gene, if you look, we are one of the most. We concede some of the most chances in the Premier League in Europe as well, because our personnel is very attacking. We need some more defensively minded players, and hopefully this summer we address that issue.
Yeah, 100%. Liam says, Liam, I think you put a question to me earlier in the chat as well about Ben Benz. I think we're getting him on next week. He actually coincidentally messaged me when he read my tweet. So we're just arranging a time, and we're sorting some new shows out for the coming week and the summer. Stay tuned. There will be some massive guests coming on BNR. We're upping the ante on YouTube and another platform. So stay tuned for that news and smash a like. There'll be plenty of people who haven't subscribed to the channel. So please do all that good stuff. And Liam says Liverpool style of play. I think he means pass between centre backs for 2 minutes. Give it to Trent. Hit a wonder pass. Miss a chance and concede on the counter. But look,
he's not even lying. That's what's been like the last 3-4 months.
But this is what Sarib was saying. If you listen to Xabi Alonso and he talks about his gegenpress, he has taken the gegenpress out of Jurgen Klopp. And someone else mentioned it. Where's our gegenpress? We don't go crazy, because it took us a year to work to tell Nunes when to go, when to stay. But we don't have Bobby anymore. Salah's lost his legs to an extent, and Diaz, who puts a shift in, you know, the way that teams go, they make sure they go through the center or down that right hand side, because we overcommit on the right hand side. So many years, Liverpool, you know, teams, especially, you know, last 3-4 years, they've avoided our left hand side with Robertson and Van Dijk, because Liverpool take risks on the right hand side, and that's where, you know, we vacate the space. But Gene, going back to the West Ham game again, I thought Liverpool played better. I know I could keep coming back to the term I used. It was more or less a pre-season game. Maybe the pressure was off as well, but I thought Liverpool played control football. But this is the problem. The moment Liverpool have a ropey 5 minutes, we're going to concede.
And that's exactly what happened. It was, to be fair, Asim, it was a boring sort of game. I didn't enjoy it in terms of, you know, there was no intensity in both sides, not just Liverpool. It was West Ham as well. I know they didn't really have much to play for. I know they were going for Europe, but you can just tell, especially in the first 30-35 minutes. But looking at Liverpool, Asim, you know, a corner, you look at the goal that we actually concede. It's a shocking goal to concede. You know, we have got a couple of players there who definitely could have done better. Endo could have done better. Gakpo could have done a lot better. The only player that I felt, I know that was for their goal, but the only player that I was happy to see do well in this game was Gravenberch. I thought, especially even in the first half, he was probably one who he had some nice slick touches. He passed the ball well, and he looked a danger in that. Because to be honest, since Jones has come back from injury on that left hand side, he hasn't done jack shit. So I was actually glad to see Gravenberch get the nod. But again, Asim, look, yes, we were better, but, you know, better in what sense? You know, you talk about being better. How exactly were we better? We were better in the second half for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that was one thing that I will give. That, you know what, for the first time, I started to see some sort of patterns of play in terms of football. There was midfielders running and there was times where Diaz got the ball, he laid it off a couple of times. There was a few decent blocks. And you thought, you know what, okay, these guys are beginning to play well, but it's the same old shit, isn't it? We concede shit goals over and over again. And yes, look, we did well to come back. Robbo got his goal, and then to go 2-1 up. It was an own goal. And, you know, it was funny because Jake mentioned me before the game, and I said it would be a 2-2. And he goes, who's going to score these goals for Liverpool, these 2 goals? And I mentioned own goals. So it was a good one. One of the own goals went in. That's what I told you. But look, it's just funny how it all worked out. But I don't know, Asim. Look, for me, I've checked out in terms of the season. I just want to see these 3 games done with a new manager that comes in to see what's going to happen, because there's so many questions that we need answers to. And in terms of the game, Asim, obviously you watched the game as well. What did you make of the game? And I know obviously Gravenberch, I thought, had a decent game.
Yeah.
But the players that you felt, you know what, did okay, did well in terms of structurally. Salah didn't start the game. We played Harvey Elliott on there. Did it improve us? Did it give us a lot more control? Yes, it might give us control. And this was my issue with I said was, yes, it might give you a bit more control, but it doesn't. And you saw, especially in the first half, you saw no threat.
This is the problem, isn't it? It's a fine line because which team has got a Foden? Which team, especially over the years, has got Stevie G, has got a Kevin De Bruyne, where he can come into play midfield, deeper areas, control the game. I think I saw him in a different type of role the first time in a double pivot this season. I think he started against Burnley, wasn't it? And then he got injured after that. But recently he's been playing in number 10 again, close to Haaland. But when you don't have those sort of players closer to your forwards, Gene, it doesn't look like Liverpool. I've got control, but the next step is creating that threat, and that's where you have to give someone like Arteta a lot of credit. I think Carragher put a massive little piece out on Monday Night Football, thinking Arsenal can't win the league because their chance creation is not good enough. But a few further tweaks in system and structure, and Arteta's found the answer to make Arsenal look. And Sarib's gonna cook me anyway. Sarib, we'll come to Arsenal, and you can cook me for that because you've been very, very busy in my DMs and WhatsApps. And well, look, just before I get cut off, Gene, I found Liverpool played a safer game, and I think this is what I'm looking forward to what Slot does. Does he go, and they say he sort of admires the way Jurgen Klopp plays this 4-2-3-1. He's a big advocate of the double pivot, and I think this is where the crux of the matter lies going forward with Slot. What does he do with Trent? Because Trent, like we've all said, is such a footballer of great quality. I've been calling him the most influential footballer in the world in terms of his assets in every zone of the pitch. But he does leave us, really looking really exposed when we lose the ball. And if you don't have a DM to cover you, we've covered all these points before, then you really struggle. So I think we need to make a decision on him. I personally would bring him into midfield now. Would I place him with McAllister? Probably at times against a mid-table side, we can go get away with that, especially at Anfield, where we're going to have 70-80% of the possession. We can have two controllers, two architects playing there. On the big day, we need to get a destroyer. We have to get a destroyer.
Question for you then, Asim. Obviously, I don't know too much about Klopp, but you mentioned he likes to play a 4-2-3-1, especially with two holding midfielders. But I also read that he likes to play two inverted fullbacks, right, at the same sort of time. I don't know if that's 100% true. You probably know better than me. Right?
What I read, look, I'm not going to lie, I've not done a lot of
right back though.
Yeah, he's inverted his right back. He played conventional high-flying fullbacks at AZ. He reined it in at a touch at a Feyenoord. But what encourages me is his build-up. It looks a lot better than Jurgen Klopp's build-up. But how do you rein in the Trentness, if that's a word, out of Trent? How do you rein in Szoboszlai's? I know Liverpool have made him a roadrunner, but he does like to express himself if you give him that role. How do you take it out of Robertson flying down that, the flank? And this is why I'm saying this is about personnel to a touch. But you have to tell Robertson, you're staying here. But we've also got Joe Gomez on the bench, who's a lot better in the first phase of build-up, who's a lot better. Sorry?
This is my question to you. Is if you ask, with all due respect to Robbo, is if you rein Robbo in, what is the point in playing? If I'm honest with you, and that's not being hard with Robbo. If you're gonna rein Robbo in, then you have to say, look, mate, you probably this system probably doesn't suit you. You probably need a proper ball playing left-sided fullback.
Yeah, look, they have someone like Hancock in their team, and we've been linked with him. Don't be surprised. I hope there's not a look. I know Liverpool, don't like going for the players that the previous managers have been at that club, but I don't know. He could go dip into the market, but Liverpool shouldn't forget that he's coming to a structure that this guy is going to have a say in transfers, but the biggest say in transfers is going to be the data team. That they're going to bring the data to him. They'll say, okay, what type of profile are you missing? He'll give him the profiles that he's missing, and he thinks Liverpool can go forward with, and then they'll bring him 2-3 players that this is what you wanted, this fits the profile, and this is the data. So I kind of, unless those players that he's really likes from his own team, if they don't sort of appear higher in those data analysis and graphic charts, then I just don't think they'll go for him. Simple as. Because Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes will have the last say, and that's the structure we've bought. And look at his title, Gene. I read today, I don't know if it's true, correct me if I'm wrong, that he's not even going to be a manager, he'll be head coach.
Yeah. That's why do you think Michael Edwards came back, Asim? Because he's been given full control. That's what he wanted when Klopp was there. But there was, like I said, Klopp was the biggest figure at this football club, and the data didn't mean anything, which is why Klopp wanted to take more control. Which is why we've made some a bit funky signings per se. People like Nunez and Gakpo to an extent as well. Diaz, players that maybe wouldn't have been signed if Michael Edwards was in charge. And I did read something. I think Joyce put it out. Asim, I don't know if you saw it as well, Gene. That the data team, they wanted to get Nkunku in, but Klopp advocated for Darwin Núñez. So just based on those two, for me, Nkunku's been injury prone this season. I think it's unfair to say he's a flop, but I thought he was a really good player at Leipzig, and in a much better league as well. Maybe that signing would have been fitted us a lot better, because we'd have still played the false 9. He would have played the false 9 role, maybe as a 10 at times as well, instead of moving to that number 9, because we still had Mo Salah in there, and we were still making Luis Diaz a left winger if he had been signed. So I think personnel has been an issue as well. But let's get on to the super chats. And do you want to read it out, or shall I? Or
yeah, go for it.
Okay. Singji, thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat. $4.99. It gives me my lunch for tomorrow. Big up to the panel. Said all along, these strikers won't be good enough to win the league for us, and it's proved so. Fun is over. Slot out. Gene? Slot out, he says.
Look, I'm not commenting about the slot out, but in terms of the strikers won't be good enough to win us the league. Look, I agree with you, and I'm not going to say I said so, but I did say that, you know what, we will rule the chances that that the striker misses. And look, I said months ago the league was on, and maybe it was harsh of me to say that. I felt as though at that time the title was going to be on Darwin's head. Either he wins as the title or he loses as the title. But obviously, it's not just him that's lost as the title. There's other forwards as well now who we can say, you know what, didn't turn up when it actually mattered. But yeah, they weren't good enough, and it's sad, because it was probably one aspect of our let's say, in terms of positions, where I thought, you know what, would do well in terms of our forward play, because we had five forwards, 5 that offered so many different variations. And you thought, you know what, they'd probably be good enough to get us the goals. And we did start off well in the season, and they did play well. But when the business end came, the truth is we faltered in every single department, from midfielders to defense, and more importantly, the attackers.
Sorry, but at the start of the season, I called Liverpool's front 5 in terms of attributes amongst all 5 the best in the world. What do you think about that take now?
I said they're the best in the league as a collective, and I think it's tough to say, because they have scored quite a few goals, but I don't think they're good enough to win the league. I think as a 5, to have 5 different options. I think what we meant is, as 5 options, no team has that in terms of attacking output. Like 5 guys can get 15 to 20 goals a season. Man City don't have that. They have 1 in Haaland that can score 50, which is 3 of our players put together. Then you got Arsenal, have got Saka. Even they don't have a 9, but what they have is control.
Was going for, if you look at their goals, Sarib, if you look at Martinelli's and Saka's goals, you compare them with our strikers, we've done a lot better than them.
Business end of the season, Gene, is where I
really look. I think in terms of our striker, it's just that they just went shit at the wrrong time,
and all at the same time.
My biggest issue this season, Asim, and we I'm sorry, Bob, I've cut you there. My biggest issue with the forward is they all went shit at the same time. And yes, people, and the crazy thing is, and this is not me having a go at Luis Diaz here. Luis Diaz, we've been lauding over the last 4 or 5 weeks that he's been amazing. I'm sorry, but I'm not here for hard work from my 3 forward or 4 forward. I need man to put the ball in the back of the net or provide me with the assists. And yes, he's worked hard. He's shown me the graft, but it's not just about graft. It's about having the graft and doing it in the final third, which I've not seen from him. When the best thing about Mane, Salah, and Firmino was when 1 or 2 of them had an off day, I can guarantee you one of them would always step up. And to be fair to these strikers, they've done well. They've got away with it. But the business end of the season, they all went shit all at the same time, and every single one of them started missing chances.
But we'll say, Gene, what I will say, Asim, as well, in Mane, Salah, Firmino's first season together, they did not challenge for a Premier League title. And that's not me defending our attackers.
In that first season, they lost in the Champions League final, bro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely fine.
They were flipping unbelievable. Salah's the one who got 30. They were unbelievable. They were unbelievable. They came in, man, them three. There was
no doubt. I think
Wachine, how do you replace those three? How can we compare Luis Diaz to Sadio?
You can't. If we're going to replace Sadio Mane, it's going to take a very, very long time. I thought maybe we've got a player in Luis Diaz that can maybe replicate even a half of what Mane did, because even then it would have been spectacular. But expectation is always expectation. We judge Liverpool there. Well, we need to understand we are not there anymore. We are here. Now it's other teams that are there. As much as the points will tell you that we're 75 points, we made it this far into the season, we also have to look at performances, which is why I always analysed our performances. As much as we've been getting away with the results, I always looked at the performances, and I wasn't confident going into most games that we played. And that's why I kept coming on the show saying, listen, just wait, hold on. I don't want it to go wrong, but I feel like it's going to go wrong, and it has gone wrong. And I didn't want to be right about it, but that's what's happened. Wrong time of the season. This team didn't have the bottle. And look, that's where I want to address a chat, because I did save it in this. So TH says, Sarib is confused. Blokes having a breakdown for not winning the title, then goes in to say they've overachieved. Make your mind up. So I wanted to answer this then, but now this is context for you. At the start of the season, none of us, even Asim, none of us had Liverpool to win the league. I would have been happy with a cup, Europa League, say back into the Champions League. And I think that's what the aim was. As much as they'll tell you no, that was the aim at the start of the season, is to get back into the Champions League. Now, during a season where a team plays well and they progress and they win more games, objectives change. Similarly to Arsenal last season. They won in the Champions League last season. They won the Europa League. At the start of the season, their aim must have been to get back into the top four. But they overachieved, which is why they came second to Man City, because that team wasn't experienced. Similarly to Liverpool this season, we have come into the season trying to get back in the Champions League, but we have overachieved, and we've won so many games that we've got us into a position of merit. That's down to the manager, because he's been here and done that. Now, next season, based on what you've seen this season, are you gonna have Liverpool in a title race? I don't think so. Go ask a Leicester fan, because I said this against Everton. Go ask a Leicester fan in 15-16 where they had them at the start of the season. They had them to stay in the division, but they went on to win the league. And if they didn't win the league that season, they finished second, 7-8 points behind Tottenham, and they had a 6-7 point lead, they would have been unhappy. The reason why I'm unhappy is because we got ourselves into a position of a 6-5 point lead and we let it go. That's why I'm annoyed, because we got ourselves into a position to win the league. I am fine with finishing third, but it's the fact that we let such a decent lead slip at the wrong time of the season. As much as our aim was to get back into the top four, when you have a lead like that, you should get over the line. It's very simple. That's what I wanted to say.
Gene?
Look, Asim, in terms of, I'm the optimist. I genuinely believe that anything is possible with the Liverpool Football Club. I'm a dreamer, so I'll always dream and I'll always back my own team, regardless of who we're up against. We can be up against the greatest Man City side, and I'll tell you we're good enough to beat them, because we're Liverpool Football Club, and that's what history's proven to us. But yes, to an extent, maybe. But for me, Asim, you have to look at everything. Our legs went. 100% our legs went. We got the injuries at the wrong time, and the players that came back from the injuries fell to players like Salah, who never gets injured, Trent, Gert Jones, who was probably our best player before he got injured. Every single one of our players that came back from injury, they were all shit. Then yes, granted they all got injured, but at least if one of them turned up, we might have been better. Brody Jota comes back within 2 games, he's injured again. It just didn't fall for us. And yeah, we fell short. Yes, in terms of achievements at the start of the season, yeah, we wanted top 4 and a trophy, and I'm happy with that. But to sit here now that I'm saying I'm happy, I'm feeling like shit, and I will do until the season's over, because I was wanting this title, and I genuinely believed that we were good enough to go and win this title. But look, it proved that we weren't. But we go again. And that's just the way the cookies
Gene, yeah, 100%. But Gene, look, I'm gonna have to promise Sarib. Sarib's been saying, I told you so, and he's ended up being right. And look, we have to hold our hands up, and Liverpool crumbled. And I have to say, Liverpool balled it. Just like Sarib is saying, that and it's a strong term to throw at your own team, but I have to be honest. And I get Liverpool have been the most unlucky with injuries, and I get Liverpool have had a tough ride. We put too much into the League Cup final and all the games around January, and Liverpool ultimately, everything in isolation, that Liverpool have simply run out of juice. And what's running out of juice is when you see the winning line, you just don't simply have enough. And we're going to accuse Arsenal of, bottling it last season. In the same way, I think Liverpool have bottled it. And this is me who I said Liverpool are going to do the mad one, because I thought our world-class individual quality, I still think Liverpool have more world-class players than Arsenal. Arsenal might have a better team, better structure, everything like that. But in terms of individual world-class individuality, I think Liverpool are better. Sarib and me were having a go at each other on WhatsApp today, and he thinks, no, Arsenal have more world-class players. Arsenal probably have a few more players in their prime of their career, in the right age. You can probably argue the likes of Salah and Van Dijk are probably the wrong side of 30, but they're still world-class players for me. And I know that, especially Salah experiencing, if we're having this conversation 3 months ago, we're saying Salah is one of the best players in the league. Still and the stats don't lie. Goals created, chances created, he's still at the top of the league. But yeah, I have to say Liverpool bottled it. But I don't think it's just on the players. I think the manager has been stubborn over the last 2-3 months, and his stubbornness, as well as Liverpool players bottling it, has cost us. Simple as the structure hasn't been there. There's a fine line between being brave and naive, and Liverpool have been naive in the last 2-3 months. And people are saying we needed players like Milner, Henderson, Wijnaldum. Obviously, these guys have got trophies in the bag and they've got leadership skills. But ultimately, yeah, you're right, Gene, as well. Injuries haven't helped us. So all in accumulation amongst with each other, that Liverpool have just bit themselves in the arse. And then how many times over the years have we said we've just missed out by a point, just missed out by 2 points? And I get Man City have been spending more money and 115 charges. There won't be fuck all done about that. We can say that, but at the highest level, putting everything to aside, what I've just mentioned is those fine margins. And those fine margins are the biggest moments. You come unstuck. If it was just a one-off, you say, okay, you know what, Liverpool have been unlucky, but 3-4 times you have to start digging deep. And like I said, it's those fine margins that make you go over the line. And it was just another year. Jurgen Klopp, and then just let me caveat everything that I said. Jurgen Klopp, there won't be any better manager or any better man to do the job that Jurgen Klopp has done at Liverpool. The way the squad he inherited, I don't think anyone could do it. But I think football evolves, and football evolves in philosophies, in approaches, and I think Liverpool have come like a half, and I keep mentioning this term, have come and transitioned into more of a controlled side in the last 12 months or so. We've still got a few steps to go, and it'll be interesting to see if Slot takes us towards Guardiola or back towards Jurgen Klopp. But if he goes to Jurgen Klopp, then he needs the personnel. He needs the roadrunners in midfield. He needs the physicality, the beasts in defense. Look at Arsenal, 4 centre-backs. Look at City, 4 centre-backs. And this is why I say Liverpool's biggest question mark is what they do with Trent. Do they bring him into midfield? Do they stick him in a double pivot? Do they revert back to a conventional 4-3-3 and make him play a Szoboszlai role in a conventional 4-3-3, a right-sided midfielder? What do they do with him? Because this guy is our footballer. This guy is our architect, but he needs protecting, and we cannot keep on exposing ourselves. It needs to be a lot more structured and in phases. So it'll be interesting to see. And I can't wait for pre-season in a way. It's funny how we wanted the season never to end in about a couple of weeks ago, because we knew the Wolves game is coming up. And now it couldn't end sooner for us. But it'll be interesting to see what Slot does in the pre-season. And that's where we'll start getting our signs which way he's going to go. People are telling me he likes the Gegen press. That's fine. But it's the other side of the pitch when we've got the ball is what most interests me, because we just can't keep encouraging teams. So let's see what happens. But I think we touched on Gravenberch. We touched on everything else that we've more or less put on the agenda. But the main talking point on Saturday after everyone finished, and if we're going to have a spat about Salah and Klopp, let's have it now, live on camera. Gene, you were passionate on WhatsApp. Sarib was a bit quiet, subdued, but the most vocal. Let me be respectful to Avi. He was most vocal on Twitter. I wouldn't go anywhere near that. I called him an idiot, and the tweet was a pathetic tweet. towards a legend of our career. That's a player that's given us so much in his time at Liverpool. But what did you make of the spat between Klopp and the king, Mohamed Salah?
Look, Asim, he was an idiot, and I tweeted it saying whatever he did was wrong. You know, you don't really put your dirty laundry in public, and you know he shouldn't have done what he did. Granted, you know it was a sign of disrespect, but you know these things happen in football. I think sometimes it gets blown out of proportion. You know, Mane's once done this to Klopp and refused to shake his hand. Salah actually did to shake his hand. Klopp's. But you look, he's Mohamed Salah. He's probably one of the best players that I've played for Liverpool over the 6 or 7 years. He's probably our best player. He's just going through sorry about it. What did I tweet? You don't want to know, right? And but
check it out. It's still there.
7, 8 years. And look, he was peed off that he didn't start the game. But I'd expect that from any world-class footballer. If you're dropped, if you're not peed off, I'd want my player to be peed off. That why he didn't start that game. But his reaction wasn't called for. His reaction wasn't good enough. He hasn't been great over the last 4 or 5 weeks, granted. But look, he shouldn't have done what he did. It got blown completely out of proportion. My issue, Asim, is with people like Avi, who called him whatever he called him. People like him, just a piece of shit. Guy's a Liverpool legend who gave us every single thing to this football club over the last 7 years. If NBA mentions 4 months, Sarge. I had people saying that he's been shit for 2 years. I have people saying to me, he's been shit this season. How can you say he's been shit this season? He scored the most, conceded, created the most, big chances created, he's number one. Assists, he's number one. What else do you want from the guy? What else exactly do you want from the guy? You want the guy to be a Maradona to keep. They want to see performance. No, 1 second. I'm not coming for you, Sarib, because you replied to me regarding this. The guy comes and plays is unbelievably well. Gets you the goals. Gets you this. It's literally has put them on a plate for Darwin Núñez and Diaz to finish him off. How many? We've seen the clips of the amount of times he's put him on thingy. Then I've got people like Sarib saying to me, stats don't mean anything. Goals and assists don't mean anything. What matters then? Do you want to Luis Diaz? What do you want then? Do you want a Luis Diaz who does all the running and hoof on puff? But
doesn't even do that though. Salah doesn't even do that. He's not doing that at the moment. That's why he's not in the team. Very simple.
What did you say? I didn't see your take on it.
No, 1 second.
I didn't say nothing about goals and assists. That's not what I said.
You look at his performances. His performances haven't been good enough. And goals and assists are good. Yes, he's got goals and assists, but his performances haven't been great. What do you want from the guy? He's got goals.
Wait.
Number one in the whole of the Premier League for chances created this season. Yeah, number one. And this is with having 3 months out and being shit for 5 weeks. And yet you have audacity.
Let me know when you're done shouting.
Give over.
Let me.
Sarib, you've got your.
He's been shit for 5 weeks. Granted.
It's not been 5 weeks though. It's not been 5 weeks. It's not been 5 weeks.
What was it been then?
Since he's come back from injury, he's not been to the level. It's very simple.
Okay, since he come back from injury, the game he came back from injury was 10th of March, which is how many weeks ago? 5 or 6 weeks ago, gone. And that in that game, he put it on one. He came back before the Man City game. He came on and put it on the plate for Diaz to get the winner, and he didn't. Go on. So how long did he been for?
He came back before the Man City game, Gene. But for me,
exactly March.
What you said,
March, bro.
What you said.
He came back in that Brentford game, didn't he? But then he got injured.
He got re-injured again.
He got assist in that game, by the way. Yeah, just thought I'd let everybody know. And then he came back 10th of March against Man City. So that's been 5 or 6 weeks. So how can you say to me, been longer than that? Go on, explain.
What I'm going to say to you, Gene, is that I said goals and assists don't mean anything. It's not what I said at all. I said his performances, for me, have not been great since he's come back from injury. And that's a fact. Because the reason why this guy's not in the team is because he hasn't.
When I said 4 or 5 weeks, that's what I meant then. Why did he say longer than 4 or 5 weeks, bro? He's only been back from injury 4 or 5 weeks. You said, go on. You said to me he's been longer than that. What do you mean longer than that?
I don't understand what you're trying to say to me.
I'm trying to say to you, he's come back from injury 5 weeks ago, yeah? You said he's been shit, he's been shy longer than that. When you said to me,
I didn't even say he's been shy.
What do you mean?
What was the exact tweet? Let me get the tweet.
You can pull it up right now.
I don't know what you said, Sarib.
I'll find it for you now. I'll find it for you right now.
Is this in reply to Gene's tweet?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, look, Mez, 1 second, Mez. I love Mo, but since AFCON, Mo hasn't been good enough. AFCON was in thingy. He came back. He was injured. People need to understand. Mo Salah has come back from an injury. He was out for 3 months. It is going to take a player time to adjust. He's never had an injury like this. People are actually saying that, he's still actually carrying an injury.
I said this.
The lad, a bit of slack.
But Gene, whilst you find the
I found
it. Go on.
So I said, let's not lie now. As much as he should have a couple of assists, he hasn't performed well. Sheen then responded to me saying, lie, who's lying? He's been shite for 5 or 6 weeks. Read the tweet and come back to me. I go, he's not been good for a lot longer than, in my opinion, regardless of his goal.
Exactly, longer, in more than 4 to 5 weeks. When you say a lot longer, explain what you mean by that.
I think it's been longer than 4 or 5 weeks. Even when he was
how long? Then tell me it. Say he's been shit for 6 months. Say he's been shit for 4 months. Say he's been shit for 2 years.
But Sarib, one of his last games was at Newcastle at home at Anfield, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He carried us in second half.
Yeah, absolutely.
One assist. Asim, he came back from Brentford. He came back from Brentford when he got injured. Got a goal and assist. Gone. How long has he been shit? Arguably our best player after Virgil van Dijk before he went on AFCON. So what the fuck are you on about?
You said to me, Gene, that I said goals and assists don't mean anything. When did I say that?
Okay, you said he's been shit. Because he's been, okay,
that's my opinion. No, that's my opinion.
Explain to me how.
That's my opinion.
Explain it to me then. How hasn't he been?
That's my opinion. You're saying stuff I didn't even say. So you're basically lying on what I said. You said goals and I said goals and.
Don't change the narrative. I'm not stupid.
There's no narrative. You said
he's been shit. He hasn't been great longer than that. What do you mean by that?
I just don't think he's been.
Since when?
Since 2024. I don't even at times that I've watched him early in the season, I don't think he's been great, and he's covered up his performance with the goals. And now he's not scoring. Now everyone's seeing it. And he's done this year in, year out in the running. Year in, year out.
Year in the running. So when we were sat in 8th position trying to get a Champions League spot in 2021, it was Mo Salah who got you that Champions League spot, mate. Yes, Alisson might have got you that goal, but in them 8 of 10 games that we played and we won, Mo Salah was the catalyst in was every single one of your games, and he was the reason why he got he was one of the main only reason why we got Champions League that year.
Gene, there's some comments about you reading your original tweet. Can you read your original tweet, please? Because we got the reply for your tweet, but we didn't get the original one.
So Sheen said Salah's last game before AFCON was Newcastle. He got 2 goals and assists. Got injured.
No, start again, Sarib.
Salah's last game before AFCON was Newcastle, 1st of January. He got 2 goals and an assist. Got injured, came back, got a goal and assist versus Brentford on the 17th of February. He then returned from his second injury against Manchester City on the 10th of March and put one on a plate for Diaz. Can someone explain where has this been that he's been crap for 4 and 5 months? I didn't say that to you.
No, but then you go, let's not lie. What did I lie about? You're saying, let's not lie now. As much as he should have had a couple of assists, he hasn't performed well. I says, lie. What have I lied about?
Because you said...
What did I lie about in my tweet?
You said he's been crap for 4 or 5 months. No one said that, though.
Well, you said, Sarib. When Sarib, someone says a lot, he's accepted.
He's been shit for a lot longer.
Let me come in. Gene, let me come in. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm going to come at Gene as well. Sarib, when someone says he's been shit for 4 or 5 weeks, and someone replies and says he's been shit for a lot longer can mean, I would take it as at least an extra 3-4 weeks. At least, minimum.
Look, my issue with Mo Salah has always been the fact that he always contributes with a goal and assist. What have I said to you, Asim? This guy can have a really bad... I've said this on the show as well. This guy can have a bad performance, but he always leaves with something. And you remember, because I've said this to you many times, he always leaves with something. My issue with Mo Salah is when this guy is not scoring or assisting, he doesn't do anything. That is my issue, Gene.
He just creates chances and puts someone for players.
How can you say
is to put the ball in the back of the 1 second? The hardest thing in football is to put the ball in the back of the net. He does that. The next hardest thing in football is to provide an assist. He does that. The next hardest way, he literally puts someone to play for his players, and because
what I think Sarib means, Gene, what I think Sarib means is he hasn't seen the Salah even when he was scoring, where he's taking the players on the outside.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Is that what you mean?
That is what I'm trying to say to you.
That's what he means, Sheen. Salah, when you saw him, but you're not going to get any sort of Barcelona.
Everyone's going to disagree with me.
Change his game.
More Salah's supposed to be on top. For me, every player is the same. Every player is the same.
Has playing well, playing now from what he was 2 years ago. Everybody can see Mohamed Salah's changed his way he plays. He's become a lot more of a creator. You see him by making a lot more of them runs down the line. That supports the line to give the ball to him. But I mean, what I don't understand, one second, Asim, is the disrespect Mohamed Salah gets. The guy's been unbelievable for 7 years. Yes, there's been moments where, you know what, he's had a dip in form. You know what, every player goes through that in 7 years. He's been arguably our best player. Look, what he did was a joke.
I never condone what Salah did to Klopp that yesterday. But the shit that I saw that come out on Twitter about, oh, he's been shit for this long, he hasn't done us this, he hasn't done that, was the biggest load of tosh. And hence why
you know, guess who were running that, right? Guess who were people,
I didn't say
most
that.
of the people, Sarib, who were running that narrative, let's be honest, are the Mane cult. And I know Salah has a cult as well. But no, Gene has mentioned about these people saying, "Oh, Salah's been shit and this and that." Let's be honest, it's the Mane guys who are saying Mane is a lot better player than Salah. If you can't accept Salah being a better player than Mane, then you should stop watching football.
I agree. And Salah is overhated, and there's Chin. That's what you misunderstand. Just because I disagree with what you're saying doesn't mean your point is not valid. You're going to defend Mo Salah. For me, I judge Liverpool players on playing at the top level. And for me, there's a reason why he's not in the team at the moment, because this guy is not scoring or assisting. And that's same with Nunez, same with Diaz. They've all been dropped at this time. And we've all come into an agreement that in the last, I'm going to say 2 months, they've all not been firing. And it's why we're in the position we're in. Jota, Nunez, Gakpo. Jota's been out of injury. Salah's come back from injury as well. And he's not been the same level to what he was. And you're saying if you give him time, he'd come back to that. But for me, my whole thing is, Gene, that he's never been injured before. So now he's been injured. His form hasn't been great since his injury, and he's on the backward age of 30, which we all discussed. So for me, even when he wasn't scoring and even when he was scoring and assisting, for me, his performances wasn't good, but he was always contributing. Now he's not even doing that. So what kind of
who else is?
What can you say that's going to change?
Okay. You talk about in terms
of missing chances, Gene, like one-on-ones against Everton. He hit it over the bar.
Listen to me. He's just come back from injury after a 3-month layoff. Doesn't any player, when he comes back from an injury like this, doesn't he at least need a bit of time to adjust? Yes or no?
But for me, 5 and 6.
No. Yes or no? Answer that question.
Yeah, but for me, yes.
I accept. Look, by the way, for everybody in the chat, I actually want Liverpool to sell Mo Salah at the end of the season.
I don't.
I believe that we need the money more than he's got 1 year left in his contract. But what I won't accept is disrespect for Mohamed Salah. Every single player has gone through load of shit where they've missed chances, been injured, come back, had 2 months off. We've still let him off. But Mohamed Salah gets injured once. He had a bad 4 or 5 games around his back. The truth is, Asim, you know what the truth is? When the rest of them have got injured, Salah's back, and Salah's been there. Salah's been the catalyst, and he's been the person who's let them off. Why? Because his goals have saved the other players. My man gets injured, comes back after an injury, and these guys have stopped scoring. I went on my man's back when for the past 6 years, he's the savior of half of our strikers. When they were going through bad form, when they were getting injured, he was the savior, mate. That's the difference.
Gene, I don't care. I don't care what he's done.
I do, though. I do. You might not care. I do. I care about Mohamed Salah.
Then if you care about that, go watch football highlights. Then
I don't need to watch football highlights, bro. I'm looking at Liverpool this season. The guy that got the most assists this season. No, you're 30 Gakpo, bro. Who can't get a goal every fucking 3 or 4 games. Post on half a defensive performance, and you're loading him, mate. I'm talking about one of the greatest players in the both scoring Liverpool and assists. Don't come at me like that.
You're speaking nonsense about Gakpo.
I'm not talking nonsense.
You're talking even been mentioned.
Cody Gakpo to the tilt. Cody Gakpo this, Cody Gakpo that. But when it concerns the Egyptian king who's given us goal after goal, you couldn't even back him at 4 or 5 bad games after coming back from an injury, mate. No, I don't buy that, bro.
Have I not said to you that I want to judge Cody Gakpo after he's played in his correct position? And if he plays poorly in that position,
if I was Salah,
that's what I've said.
I would sack Rami Abbas and I would hire Gene as a lawyer and as an agent.
My issue with Salah has always been the same, right? This guy, when he doesn't score or assist, he doesn't do absolutely anything. He doesn't do nothing. That's my issue with him. And now he's come back from this injury layoff and he's not even been performing. Like, he's not even getting goals or assists now. You're on mute, Gene. You're on mute. But
because he's injured, he just come back. Takes a bit of time.
But for me, that is absolutely fine. But
Sorry, would you sell him?
I know that's why wouldn't sell him, because I want him to be given a chance to show me that this is just a little. That's why I've never said sell Mo Salah. I think we are going to sell him, but I've never said sell Mo Salah. I have not said Mo Salah.
Would you sell him?
I haven't.
Would you sell him? Yes or no?
Yes, why? Because he's got. I want 100 million to come in, and I want us to flip and sort this flipping team out because the team ain't good enough. He's got a year left on his contract. We haven't got enough. If I knew we had a load of money there. You know what? FA, I want him to start.
So, Gene, you've been loading our greatest player of all time. Well, I would call him the greatest players we've seen anyway. Maybe Suarez would come into that conversation.
Would I sell him? If you said, look, You have to put context to
Why
this.
doesn't Salah have a chance to prove himself then? If you're selling
Let
him,
me explain to you, Asim. He's only got. I have to think of the bigger picture. If it was any other club, if Salah was worth 40 million this year in the summer, you think I'm selling him? No chance. The only reason I'm thinking about selling him, and the only reason he's got 1 year left on his contract. We've got FSG, our owners. Edwards has come in. They're gonna do what's right for this football club, and I understand that. I actually get it for what they want to do. Yes, you'll get 100. If you can get 100 million for him, you'd sell him because it makes sense. From a business perspective, it makes sense. He's got a year left on contract, it makes sense. But that doesn't mean that I want that Mohamed Salah isn't still the best player for Liverpool Football Club. 100% he is. 5 games are not going to change my opinion on Mohamed Salah being the best player for Liverpool Football Club.
Look,
I agree. I was just asking the question.
He's been having a go at me since Cheen's been shouting for the last 20 minutes about Mo Salah. He was having a go at me. Sorry, we're talking nonsense. At no point did I say sell Mo Salah. That has never come out of my mouth. And now he's saying I'd sell him now for real because FSG are tight and because he's declining, which is what I've been trying to say to you. He's on a decline, which is why he's not been performing well. But when I was saying it, no, Cheen, well done, you're right.
Oh, he's on such of a decline. He's on such of a decline that he's a top goal scorer, got the most and the most chances created in the whole league, but he's on such a decline.
Pre-injury.
Pre-injury, yeah. Four games, yeah.
If you care what he's done,
goes back to 4 games, bro. Yeah, such a decline, bro. That man is still number 1 after all the injuries. He's been out for 3 months and still number 1.
Gene, Gene. You said he hasn't been good for 5 or 6 weeks, and is him not being in his team justified? Because you said he'd start against Everton. You said you wanted Salah.
I want Mohamed.
2 shows ago, you said you'd want Salah to start against Everton because he's our main man. Yes. What did he do in that game?
What did the rest of them do all that game?
But I've said Nunes.
I'll tell you what he did. He put on a play for Darwin Nunes and he missed an absolute sitter.
But Salah hit one over the bar as well.
He missed a chance. Who's saying that he hasn't had a wait? Who's saying he has had an amazing 5 games? I'm the first one to admit that he hasn't been great for the last 5. He's been shit for the last 5 games. I'm the first one to admit that.
But Gene, Salah does this most of the time he's playing.
Yeah, most of the time.
I am telling you, if he got a goal and assist, if guys scored that chance,
Sarib, let me clarify. You want him to stay, yeah?
Of course, I want him to stay. Because
what's your plan? What's your solution for Salah? If you just discussed he's lost the ability to take players out, players on the outside, then what's your plan? What's your solution?
Look, but now this is why I'm going to play the opposite card as well. This is his first big injury in his career, right? First decent sized injury that he's had at Liverpool, especially. He's always available, and his form has only dipped, like in terms of goal scoring and assisting, since he's had this injury. Now I want him to have a nice preseason and be given the opportunity to contribute, because there's not many wingers in Europe that can play the inside 4 role that can score 30 goals a season. I can count you on one hand how many of them they are, if there are any. That's why I'd keep him, because the pros of having Salah at this club are much better than the cons of him being here. There's much more pros to him staying than cons to him being here, because he can score 30 goals a season, even when he's playing badly. My issue is that he has been doing this at this time of the season for a very, very long time, even across the last 6 or 7 years, Asim. And as much as you don't want to believe it, he goes on droughts of goals every single season. He done in the 21-22 season, half the season, he didn't do anything. 2021, he carried us to the top 4. Absolutely fine. 19-20, he also went on a goal draw. 18-19, he also went on a goal draw. This is not uncommon with Mo Salah. My issue is that when he doesn't score an assist, he doesn't do anything. That has always been my issue with him. But
so do you think he's running to the ground even sort of before like February, March? Yeah. Then he's got the AFCON to look after as well.
Yeah, overplaying, because
so is that on Klopp as well?
Absolutely. This is why I said the manager's at fault for some of the stuff that's gone wrong this season as well, and the medical department, because no team in the Premier League should be having this many injuries. He was rushed back against Brentford, which is why he got re-injured. Jota was rushed back, and Avi pointed out very, very well, and we did on a WhatsApp call. Jota was rushed back, which is why he's got injured. We have had injuries this season for a very, very long time, and last season, not just down to the players we have, but obviously there's something going behind the scenes, Asim. There's something going on behind the scenes. That why are these players that having no injuries? Szoboszlai was not injury prone before he came to Liverpool. Why all of a sudden is he having 10 games, 9 games out injured? Alexi McAllister is the same.
I looked at slots sort of turnover, how high he wins the possession, turnovers, gegenpress, intensity, all those stats are leading to more injuries, Sarib. That's not. It's about even though he's got a bit more stability in his build-up. All these things, especially the current state of our squad, the likes of Salah, the likes of Jota, the likes of Diaz, it can't mean a good thing, Gene. Where we can't play that game anymore.
And to be honest with you, I think there was a stat going on that in terms of his team, his forwards, they win the ball further up the field more than any team in Europe. And you think that we're going to get Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo, Jota and Salah to do all that running? That ain't happening, mate. So he's going to have to that's the simple truth, because they can't do it. These forwards can't do it. Like you mentioned, Salah isn't that player that he was 5 years ago in terms of running. He isn't going to be able to do that. So look, I think there's decisions to be made about most of our forwards this summer. There's question marks on all of them. Me and Avi did a show, and I think we bought in £500 or £600 million because we think they're all shit, and we should sell every single one of them, because there's a big question mark on all of them. We speak about Diaz. So 70 million quid. I'm telling you, if I get 70 million quid for Luis Diaz, I'm selling him. With Salah, £100 million if I get for Salah, I'm selling him. 50 million pound for Darwin Núñez, I'm selling him. Because these guys haven't been good enough. They've not shown that they've been good enough. And if we're going to go to this new way of gegenpress type of forward, winning the ball back high up from our forward players, then there's going to be question marks over these forwards. Gakpo's pressing is probably the worst one I've ever seen. And in regard to bloody Jota, he's injury prone as it is. So there's huge question marks on so many of our players that we're going to see what's going to happen, how this is going to play out. But we'll have to wait and see how they get on.
Sorry, but I just want to address some of these comments coming for you saying you're still an Arsenal fan and all that sort of rubbish. But look, I've watched many games with Sarib. I've been on the phone to Sarib late night. And all we've discussed is what's going wrong at Liverpool for the last week or so. This is his passion. When he talks about Arsenal, he wants Liverpool to be structurally sound. And look, I know it's sometimes a bit easy to say you're an Arsenal fan. We've done the same on camera. But to throw abuse and disrespect, come on, guys. Look, this is football at the end of the day. Banter is banter. Disrespect is going just way too far. And I'm not just saying this because Sarib is our friend, our brother, and a contributor to the channel. We have to remain respectful. People and disagree with him 100%. But please provide some reason, some constructive criticism towards his points. And he's here to answer your questions. Yeah. But please remain respectful. That's all we ask.
I do get abuse in my DM saying you're an Arsenal fan. Why do you support this club? Why do you support us if we've been chatting all this shit about Arsenal? I get abuse in my DM. I don't think that's very fair, because if you saw my post match after Everton, you could clearly see I'm not an Arsenal fan. You clearly see how I reacted to that loss. It wasn't. If I was if I would have been happy if I was an Arsenal fan watching Liverpool.
Oh shit, we missed selections thingy. If selection is still in the house, I'm very, very sorry. Big up, a big contributor to our channel. Sorry, but I was there with you, my man. I said our performances have been no good, but individualism bailed us out when that stagnant. He can't even rely. He must be pissed. We returned to mean Arsenal have been more consistent than us. If you made sense of that comment, Sarib, do you want to take it? You basically saying you were proven right.
Yeah, but I've always said I don't want to be right. And you've got idiots like this in the comments. I don't even want to call him idiot, but it's just stuff like this annoys me, because I want Liverpool to be in the best state. Keep saying TH says post-match Everton run was fake. What do you mean?
Yeah, he's having a laugh. He's put laugh out loud, man. That's a minor one. Anyone else?
Anyone
else says anything, block them. There's no problem with what your reviews are.
I've always said I want Liverpool to be the best, and I epitomize Man City and Arsenal as the best because they've proven it over the last 2 years. Liverpool have proven it at times this season, but I always looked at the performances, and that's why I always said I don't think this team can do it this season. As much as this team, I like this team and I want them to do it, there's too much emotion. Klopp leaving, the players are overworking, we're playing the same 11 most weeks, stuff like that. I just don't think our players, like, they've got Declan Rice in midfield and we've got Alexis McAllister, our most creative midfielder, playing as a 6. It's stuff like that I looked at and I went, that's wrong. Like, something's not right. As much as we went, as far as we did in the season, I never saw the finishing line, and maybe Asim did and maybe Chin did because they believe. But I'm a different fan to these lot. They go to games most weeks. I don't. I sit at a computer desk all day looking at stats, looking at where Liverpool had it wrong, the possession of the other team, and we're always high in conceded chances. I watched Sheffield United game on television. We conceded so many chances. Luton, so many chances. It's happened far too many times. And Man City can go away to Forest, the business end of the season. Imagine that was us today. What would have happened? Imagine we were playing away at Tottenham. What would have happened? We would have capitulated. We would have conceded we'd probably conceded to that Vicario header. And that's why I always want us to be structurally the best in the best possible way. And it's why I've said Klopp should have left in the summer of 2022, because I think we needed a whole refresh. And last season proved it. But then again, he proved it this season why he should have stayed. But you know what? I just want Liverpool to be in the best position possible. That's all. And sometimes that comes across as me, applauding other teams. But that's the benchmark for me, those two teams above us. And they've proven it.
100%. At the end of the day, the table doesn't lie. And we've capitulated. I've called Liverpool bottling the league, and you have to call a spade at times. But 1 hour, 25 minutes of pure passion. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been an absolute brilliant, engaging, trolling chat. But Gene, any lasting thoughts? Where do we go from here?
More Salah.
Do what you want. Do what you want in these next 3 games. We take it, and then we just reset again, and we go again. And not going to come in, Gene, but I think we're going to have plenty of conversations about FSG in the next 2-3 months, because it doesn't matter who you bring. If you're going to bring a coach, if you're going to bring a yes man into this structure, you have to make sure you back him. And Liverpool need, backing, whoever the manager is. And Michael Edwards, if he's going to make some big calls about some big players and big contracts, then he has to make sure he gets them bang on. And but if some big players leave, then some big players need to come in. If they're not big players, they need to be the best of the best in terms of where he can take a 30-40 million pound player into an 80-90 100 million pound player. If Liverpool do that again and turn them into world stars, then we'll have a good 2-3 years. But it's a delicate situation, Chin.
Yeah, 100% is, and it's a huge summer for Liverpool. And one thing I will say is with Edwards coming back this summer, it's his first summer that he's come back in. He's gonna want to put some sort of marker down on this sort of side, and hopefully look, we know deep down, let's face it, Asim, we ain't exactly going to go and spend 100 million on a few players like I believe we should, because that's exactly what this team needs when you're going to replace the likes of Salah and bring in some sort of replacements for VVD in the future and that type of thing. But we just have to get it right. Do we trust these guys 100%? They've got a proven track record. We were all lauding the fact Edwards has come back. We've got Hughes in, and that we finally got a structure. And if Slot's the man that these guys want, we have to back him to the tilt. And that's what Liverpool fans will do. We'll always back him, and we will back him till the end. And even if it means some of the big players going, then so be it. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. The club is bigger than any individual, and that's just how it is. So we just have to hope and pray that they get it right. They've got a history of getting it right, and let's just hope and pray that we do.
Sorry, but I tweeted about a week ago. It's the Michael Edwards show. The pressure's on him.
Yeah, and the pressure is going to be on. I don't think just him. I think on a lot of those players that I think they have doubts as well on who's going to be here, because they know Michael Edwards is not afraid to get rid. He's not afraid to make big decisions, and he has all the power. From what we are led to believe, he's the CEO. He has full control. The people he's brought in are his guys, not the managers. And the manager is also under his kind of regime. And no player is safe this summer. I will say no player. Actually, no, maybe Alisson is safe, maybe Virgil is safe. But even then, they have their doubts about staying at Liverpool as well. I've read some reports. But it's a big summer, Asim. A lot of things are going to be decided in the next months or so. A lot of things are going to be a lot clearer to us. And a lot of shows are going to be pushed out for all of you guys as well. So,
yeah, 100%.
Big summer, not only for Liverpool, but for BNR as well, as Asim politely put it before.
Some big announcements coming soon, Sarib. Some big announcements. And Mohammed Kibriya, I think this is the comment of the night. 78 likes out of 193. It's 195 at the moment. We've had well over 250 in here tonight. But we've only got 78 likes. And I think we've got about 50 Arsenal fans. So you set of losers, smash a like and subscribe if you haven't to. Sarib, this is my friend who messaged me and told me that you carried the show on Wednesday. He's an Arsenal fan, He'll be
Of course he
crying.
likes me. Of course he likes me then.
There you go, Asim.
He's an Arsenal fan. He's an Arsenal fan. That's why he likes you. You got it. But look, you carried the show. You had to carry the show. You were
It's only me.
It was absolutely brilliant, full of energy, full of passion and honesty as well.
Apparently it's a fake run. Apparently I was faking it.
You know, two THs. That's his brother.
Oh,
That's Amar's brother.
okay. Sorry, I didn't know your brother. Sorry.
They only watch when we lose. But it's the world of social media, isn't it? Negativity sells, as they say. But a few questions about the next show. Habib says next show. I think Arib was mentioning as well. We'll do another show on Arnie Slot. I tweeted today about some Dutch journalists maybe focused on Feyenoord. We'll bring you a bit more insight on our new manager. Ben is going to be in the house as well, maybe on Monday or Tuesday. Then we'll have a show with Avi because he hasn't expressed his opinions. He's making all the wrong calls, on Twitter.
There, yeah.
No, Chi, we need you, man. We need you.
I can't. I'll fight him, man.
Well, Chin, they want a show on your own. They want Chin to go on his own.
No chance. I ain't going on my own. I like being asked the questions.
Yeah, and there's one more thing I wanted to mention, but I think it's gone. But Cholo, it's been an absolute cracking show. 1 hour, 30 minutes of pure fire. I promise you, there will be fire. Salah didn't promise fire in the mix zone. We promised fire on BNR. But thank you very much. Have a great night. And when's the next game? Sunday. We'll have a call-in show on Saturday, Sarib. I think Junior wants to come. Vic United with a late Fergie time super chat. No Klopp and Salah. Ha ha ha. You're finished.
Guess what, then, mate? We're playing Champions League football next season. You on?
But thanks for the £2. Well, how can a Man United fan troll us? Bloody hell.
Enjoy Conference League, mate.
Okay, guys. Brilliant. Thanks for watching.
Guys.
Take care. See you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye-bye now.